go first. So, in 2011, I lost my job. I was a motivational speaker in schools. I did workshops and events in schools all over the country, speaking to kids from about 12 years old through to about 18 on anything from study skills to creative thinking to entrepreneurship to generally what it takes to achieve and be successful. Not because I was a successful person, but we used to use examples of famous people like Michael Jordan and people like that. You know, people who had achieved, and we'd break down what they did so that we could show the young people what they could do to help them. And in 2011, I lost my job, and I was without anything. And in the November of that year, when I lost my job, I was literally left with nothing. I had a family to feed and no money coming in. By Christmas time, I was getting quite down. There wasn't a lot going on. There was no work for me. I'd never really done anything else. It's really hard. I've got no tangible skills. Like, I can't make stuff, and I couldn't build a house, or I don't have those kind of skills. So I found it really difficult getting a job. And as time wore on, I got more and more kind of down on my luck. And kind of come Christmas time, when there felt to me like there was no hope, I was very, very close to basically putting an end to everything. It was quite a scary time, and not a lot of people know that, to be honest. It's probably the first time I've really admitted it. But it was a really, really dark time. And I managed to kind of turn things around a little bit, but I decided that here was a chance, with my life ending how it was, and what I'd been doing for years and years and years, here was a defining moment where I could change things. Because I'd always felt like everything I did had a bit of a front to it. Like I'd rock up into schools and be like, yeah kids, I'm cool, look at me, and blah, 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 I do this, and blah, blah, here's success, right. But I never felt 100% comfortable with it. So there's this concept of like imposter syndrome and stuff, and I really, really felt that, really, really did. I used to rock into work thinking, so one day someone will find me out and they'll go, you're not meant to be doing this because you don't know what you're talking about. And there was no truth behind it, but that was how I felt. So I figured with where I was in my life, I woke up one morning and was like, right, I'm just going to change things. I've done things for years and years and years that I thought people wanted me to do. I went to university because I thought that's what people wanted me to do. I had certain jobs because that's what I thought people wanted me to do. And I figured, right, now's the time to change it. So I did. And in the beginning of that year, in 2012, I decided that what I actually wanted to do at that moment in my life was be a web developer. And there was a company that I knew locally in town called Digital, who I'd worked with a little bit through my teaching stuff, and I figured I really want to go and work for them. They're really cool. That's the kind of people that I want to work with. They're the kind of people that I want to get up with every single morning, rock into work, and have a really good day. And actually, we could be cleaning the streets for all day long, and it wouldn't actually matter. Those are the kind of people that I wanted to work with. So that's what I did. But there was no opportunity for me at that time. They had a full bank of staff. They weren't employing anyone. I had no real skills as a web developer. Didn't really know what I was doing. I could do a little bit, but didn't know loads. So I started freelancing, and I started learning. And the way I got my job in the August, September of 2012 was not through talent, was not through this magical ability that I was born with to write code and do all these kind of things. It was just born out of hard work and graft and not stopping and not giving up. There were points when I was freelancing where I was working 20 hours a day. And I was picked up by an agency in the US. So I was working on kind of UK time and US time. And I remember one evening they'd come to me, evening UK time, and they'd said, oh, we've got this and it needs to get done by the morning. So I pulled an all-nighter. Energy drinks all piled up in front of my computer, and I went all the way through the night. And I would regularly do that kind of thing because that was the only thing I knew that I could do. I didn't have this talent. I didn't have this amazing ability. I just knew I could, because I wanted to, work really, really hard. And actually, now what I've ended up doing is I work for Digital. I'm a front-end web developer with Digital, but I've also now got this amazing other side of my business. One of the things that happened in 2011, ironically, about 2 weeks after I lost my job, is I was given my first camera. It's really weird being in a room full of photographers and me not taking photos, to be honest. But I was given my first camera. I'd always played about with my mum's. I'd always played around with one we had at work, but I never had my own because they were expensive. One day I went down to see my uncle. Because I had no job, I had nothing better to do, and they were like, well, just come down. So I went down, and he gave me his camera. He was like, well, I've got a new one. You can have that. So I started taking photos. And now what I do, so I'm a front-end web developer at Digital, but I also run this part of the business called Digital Media, which basically is photography for websites, and particularly for the web industry. And I'm now able to get up in the morning and do the things that I really love doing. I'm able to go off tomorrow and shoot photos of racing drivers in race series and stuff, and I get to work with some really, really cool people who are even in the audience today.
and I get just to do some cool stuff. And I'm not going to stand here and say I'm uber successful, and the next 6 things I'm about to tell you are the keys to success, because they're probably not, but they're just the things that I've learned in that journey, from basically being left with nothing, no hope, no future, no dreams, nothing, to being back on what I feel is an even keel in my life, where I feel like I can go and achieve stuff, where I've now got these really cool aims and objectives and crazy dreams and stuff that makes me feel, yeah, I can actually go and do this. So some of the things that I've learned, okay? These are not necessarily right or wrong. I'm not going to say they're going to work for you. I wouldn't say go away and apply all of these principles now and you'll become millionaires in the next month, because that's not how it works, okay? But this is what I've learned. These are the things I've learned. I learned to hustle, okay? And a lot of people are like, oh, what's hustle? Hustle is basically taking whatever you've got in that day and squeezing the life out of it for that day. If you've got a 9-to-5 opportunity to do something, you squeeze every single minute out of that day working. If you've got 3 hours, it's 3 hours. If you've got 20 hours that you can get some stuff done, squeeze everything out of it. Because what I've found and what I've learned from looking at very successful people is they work harder than everyone else. Yeah, they work longer than everyone else. They work smarter than everyone else. They're always getting the absolute most out of the day that they can. I don't go to work on a Monday morning and think, right, well, I've got all of these things to do this week. What I tend to go in and think is, right, I've got to get this done today, and I'm going to squeeze the life out of today. And then once the day's done, I'll get up tomorrow morning, I'll do the same thing again. Sometimes that's an 8-hour day. Sometimes that's a 10-hour day. Sometimes it's a 20-hour day. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference to me. But what you'll find is that people who do really, really well in life, who achieve those things that you look at and go, that's really cool, they achieve it because they work really hard and they hustle and they don't give up. And there's other bits and pieces that I'll talk about in this a little bit later on, but what you'll find is those people who are really, really successful, who do really, really cool stuff, just hustle every single day. And they never ever let up, and they don't ever stop. And they don't stop when people tell them they should stop, or when people say, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or that's not going to work, or oh, I wouldn't do it like that. Yeah? We've got loads and loads of people who have opinions. Very, very few people who we listen to in life who have experience, because we're all too busy listening to people's opinions. These people's opinions will say, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that. But those people who are really successful just hustle and grind all day long. That's all they do. Another thing I learned is that life's really hard. And it is. Life is really hard. It will beat you and beat you and beat you and beat you until it basically has had enough of you. And it will leave you with nothing if you let it. If you let life beat you, it will do it every single day. And you can just sit back and let it happen, or you can fight against it every single day. And there's this really cool thing that I learned a few years ago in Success magazine. One of the things I learned was that basically your mind is like a glass of water. Okay? And everything that you do during the day and all the information you take in during the day affects the clarity of that water. So if you go home and you watch news on TV that's depressing and makes you feel awful, and you listen to loads and loads of people who are hugely negative, and you do stuff that doesn't reinforce how you feel about yourself in a positive way, that glass of water gets cloudier and cloudier and cloudier and cloudier until you can't see through it. And the only way to beat that is to pour in really, really good, clean water. If you went and got a cup of really dirty water now and you went to the river, I'm not saying the river's dirty, but it wouldn't be crystal clear. But if you got that glass of water, the only way to make that crystal clear again is basically to pour lots and lots of fresh, clean water in it. And that's how you do it. So I don't go home and I don't watch the news. And there's probably people who are going to disagree with what I'm about to say, but I don't watch soaps either. Because they're usually really depressing. Someone's been killed or the plane's crashed. How many planes crash in Emmerdale? Sorry. But I don't do any of that. I don't do anything that I feel makes me feel worse about stuff. And I try to kind of minimize the interaction I get with really negative people. I have some really negative people in my life who I don't intentionally spend a lot of time with, because I know it just saps all the energy out of me. Yeah? And these people will tell you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, and they're muddying the water. The only way that you feel good about yourself enough to go off and achieve the things that you want to achieve in life is if in here it's crystal clear. Like, you know exactly what you want, you can go and get exactly what you want, and you're not letting the world around you affect you. Yeah? You can have some awful, 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 awful days. But if your mind's really clear up here and you know exactly what you want and why you want to get it, then it actually won't make a difference. And you'll be able to get up the following day and do the same thing. One thing that I did kind of learn in the respect that life's hard is that there's loads and loads of stuff to do. Loads and loads of stuff to do all the time. And people are like, oh, how do you do this? And how do you find time to do that? And how do you find time to go off to race circuits? And how do you find time to speak at this and do that? And it's basically all about priorities. Think of your life as a box, okay? A square cardboard box. And I give you enough wooden blocks to fill that box. And every wooden block that you'll get given is a thing in your life. It's a priority. It might be spending time with your family. It might be work. It could be anything. You only have a finite amount of resources in your life to put all that stuff in your box. But you're choosing to put what's in that box, if that makes sense. So if one of your things is sitting playing on computer games for 12 hours a day, I know people like this, right? Then that's a block that you're choosing to put in your box. And it's taking up time that you could be doing something else with. Because we have lots of crazy, wild, massive dreams in our lives. Loads and loads of people that I meet who are like, oh, I really want to do this thing. And I remember being in schools and you get kids going, oh, I'd love to be a professional football player and stuff. And I'm like, cool. So how often do you train and stuff? Oh, well, I don't really train. I just play on a Saturday afternoon. Right, okay. Oh, I'd love to be a professional football player. It'd be amazing. Oh, so you're always at the gym and you're always working out. No, go home, watch TV. It's about prioritizing things in your life. If you've got something that you really, really want to achieve, that you really, really want to do, that's like burning a hole inside you, you're that passionate about it, then it's about the way you get there is about working hard, but especially prioritizing things in your life in order to get there. Take out the stuff you don't need. I don't watch TV particularly. I don't watch rubbish on TV. I'll watch stuff that makes me feel better or that I get something out of, but I won't just waste my time away because I haven't got enough time to do that. Another thing I've learned is to trust your gut. 9 times out of 10, your gut feeling is right. What happens is your head talks you out of the game. There was a point when I was asked to do this talk a few weeks ago, and my head was like, dude, don't do that. That's a bad idea. That won't end well. But I knew in my gut it was the right thing to do. I knew in my gut that I wanted to be here and I wanted to kind of give this kind of talk. There's been times when I've had opportunities for jobs and work and stuff like that, and I knew if I let my head get in the game, it would have talked me out of the whole thing. Trust your gut. 9 times out of 10, your gut is correct. Okay? Learn to trust it. You've got to communicate with it. It will sound really weird, but it's your soul, it's your heart, it's your passion, whatever you want to call it, but I call it gut feel. Just trust it, because 9 times out of 10, it's right. It's working on that subconscious level in your brain that knows what the right thing is to do. Another thing that I learned was that most of the time, and there are exceptions to the rule, because there always are, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I know for a fact that there are wildly more talented photographers than me. I know that for a fact. I know tomorrow afternoon when I rock down to Donington with my cameras and I'm ready to go and I'm taking loads of photos, that there are some immensely talented photographers on that grid who are working, who are doing the same thing as me. But I know for a fact that I can level peg with them or do better because I'll outwork them. Because tomorrow night when I get home, I'll spend 6 hours sorting all my images out so they're back to race drivers and race teams and everyone else ready for Monday morning. I know that I'll beat people on hard work. If you're like me and you look at yourself and go, not particularly talented, that's fine. But you can still outwork these people and you can still get what you want in life. You just have to work really hard for it. You have to hustle, you have to grind, you have to keep going every single day. And don't let people deter you and don't let yourself deter you. You can't do it alone. I fundamentally don't believe in that you should get people to do stuff for you. I saw a friend of mine on Twitter the other day and they were like, oh, it's the last time I asked someone to do something for me because it never happens. That's a life lesson right there. It's true. No one will ever do stuff for you because they're too preoccupied with doing their own thing, which is fine, which is perfectly normal. But you can't do this stuff alone. There's no way that I'd be doing the things I now do and working, running my photography agency the way I run it, and working on, I work on websites for things like £10 million turnover businesses a year, like really big deals. Like if we turn their website off for 20 minutes, they lose 40 grand in sales in that 20 minutes. It's scary. But the only reason I'm able to do stuff like that and work on stuff like that is because I work with some really, really cool people. And if we were out sweeping the streets, I'd still love working with these people because they're amazing. But you can't do this stuff alone. If you've got something you really, really want to achieve, you cannot do it alone. You'll have to find people along the way to help you. Not do it for you, but help you. You get to choose. The one thing I learned from losing my job and starting over is that I got to choose exactly what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, how I wanted to act, how I wanted to behave, how I wanted to communicate with people, the things I wanted to achieve. All my choice. If the stuff you want to do in your life, it's your choice. If you do things in life, it's your choice. People often say, and you'll hear people all the time say, you've probably said it yourself quite a lot, oh, well, I can't do this because such and such happened. Well, you're choosing to let that thing that's happened affect you. Yeah? You could choose to think about it differently. You could choose to approach it in a different way. You could choose to react in a different way to it. Everything in life is a choice. Every single thing in your life, the way you act, the way you behave, the way you talk, the things you do, it's all choice. But 99 times out of 100, what we do is we let this thing in here make that choice for us on a subconscious level, so we're not thinking about it. It's all a choice. If you want to change, if you want to be different, if you want to go after your dreams, it's all a choice. Decide to do it. Decide to do it and go and do it. It's that simple. Then you just have to put all the hard work in. And lastly, and I know there's exceptions that prove the rule in this, but one of the things that I found is that luck has nothing to do with it. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Well, I've got touring cars to shoot on Sunday." It was the bank holiday weekend, one just gone. I've got touring cars to shoot on Sunday, and then I've got British Superbikes to shoot on Monday, and then I'm back in at work on Tuesday, and we've got this, and this to do. And they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky." Luck's got nothing to do with it. I am not a lucky person. I've worked really, really hard. People look at like professional athletes and celebrities and like actors and things, and they'll go, "They're so lucky, they do these amazing things." Luck's got nothing to do with it. I worked at the Man City Football Academy for 2 years, teaching basically the youth team who come up into the senior squad. And you get these people who see these footballers, "Oh, they're so lucky." There were 20 kids on that course. 2 of them have ended up playing professional football at the top level. 2 of them. The rest of them, I don't know what they do because they've just disappeared into the ether because they don't do that thing they love anymore. It's not luck. Yeah, these people who you look at and go, "They're so lucky, they do these amazing things," have probably been working at that since they were 4. Yeah? You look at the people who go on the X Factor and things like that. Britain's Got Talent, that's totally different. That's, yeah, if you watch that, that's up to you. But you'll see, like, get a life, do something different. This is, if you look at people like, Ollie Murs, who's done really, really well for himself off of that competition, people go, "Oh, he's so lucky, he's had this amazing break." No, he was probably singing at home and like working really, really hard on that since he was about 4 or 5. But you won't see that. What we often see is people being really successful. What we don't see is the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work that go into it behind closed doors. We're defined by the things we do that people never see. But what happens is people then see the stuff that we do and judge us on that and go, "Oh, they're so lucky, they're amazing, they do this." It's not down to luck, it's down to hard work. And if you've got stuff in your life that you want to achieve, that you want to be amazing at, it's all about hard work. It's all about hustle and grind. It's not about being talented. It's not about being the most amazing person ever. If you want to do stuff, you can do it. You can work really hard at it. Thank you ever so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope it's a lovely day. See you all soon.